الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم قل أرأيتم إن أخذ الله سمعكم وأبصاركم وختم على قلوبكم من إله غير الله يأتيكم به انظر كيف نصرف الآيات ثم هم يصدفون قل أرأيتكم إن أتاكم عذاب الله بغتة أو جهرة هل يهلك إلا القوم الظالمون وما نرسل المرسلين إلا مبشرين ومنذرين فمن آمن وأصلح فلا خوف عليهم ولا هم يحزنون والذين كذبوا بآياتنا يمسهم العذاب بما كانوا يفسقون صدق الله العظيم. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created us, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us a qalb. We translate it as heart. This qalb and this heart, everything around it affects this heart. How so? Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also gave us certain faculties which are avenues towards this heart. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave us hearing, listening, the ability to hear something. So a person hears the ayat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, for example, being recited. A person hears the dhikrullah. A person hears da'wah towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This affects a person's heart as well. Just as it does in a physical or a tangible state, like that it also affects the spiritual state. What I mean by physical or tangible is if someone gives you news, if someone gives us news that there was a child born, so you hear it through your ears, right? So what happens? It doesn't just hear and go away. There is an effect in the heart, right? You're happy, it comes in your mood, the person expresses himself in that manner. Why? Because he heard good news. Or if we hear that so-and-so passed away, immediately it changes. There's a certain effect. How a person takes that. So like that on the spiritual heart as well. That you hear good things, we hear da'wah, we hear of good news, that so-and-so accepted Islam, for example. That his life was such, and then he came towards khair and goodness. We hear the dhikr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we sit in durus of ilm and knowledge. So then these things bring goodness into our hearts, and it brings positivity to a person into his spiritual state. Like that, if a person listens to negative things, he listens to those things which are impermissible for him to hear, then this has a negative impact on his soul. Similarly, sight. A person looks at something, so if you see someone who is in a pitiful state, then how is your day after that? You also feel miserable. Like that, if a person sees good things, what he's supposed to look at, what's allowed for him to see, and his spiritual, if you look at the Quran al-Kareem, then that also affects your spiritual qalb. And if a person looks at haram, then it affects the spiritual qalb as well, the heart as well, a person's spiritual self. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in this ayah is reminding us that these avenues and these faculties which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given to us, that they are only from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And if these ni'mats are taken, these blessings are taken from a person, then what is left of this person and his understanding and his heart? قُلْ أَرَأَيْتُمْ إِنْ أَخَذَ اللَّهُ سَمْعَكُمْ وَأَبْصَارَكُمْ. That if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala takes away your ability to hear, your ability to see, and then over and above, so these are the avenues coming to the heart. وَخَتَمَ عَلَى قُلُوبِكُمْ. That even your hearts become sealed. So one, the path leading to something, if you want to understand through an example, if you have a building, so if you block off all roads coming to the building, and then you seal the entrance of the building as well. So now how do you go inside that place? There's no way to go inside. Whatever khair and goodness that you need that's in there, that's stored in there. All the rations and everything is stored inside that building, which you need to access. But all the roads are blocked to it. the avenues leading to our block, and the door itself is sealed as well. So now how do you access this goodness? So وَخَتَمَ عَلَىٰ قُلُوبِكُمْ مَنْ إِلَهٌ غَيْرُ اللَّهِ يَأْتِيكُمْ بِهِ. Is there any deity that you know other than Allah that can bring this to you, that can give you this? Can anyone say that I can provide these faculties for you? The qalb for you, the sama' basar. No one's over there to do this. انظر كيف نصرف الآيات ثم هم يصطفون. How many ways Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, in different ways. Sometimes these signs are brought, sometimes in this way the Quran Kareem is explaining. The Quran Kareem is saying that in so many ways, not one way, not two ways, so many ways it's being explained again and again and again. And then ثم هم يصطفون. Again they turn away. Again they turn away. قل أرأيتكم إن أتاكم عذاب الله بغتة أو جهرة هل يهلك إلا القوم الظالمون. So if through your i'rading, through your turning away, then if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala decides that adhab and punishment shall take you, and sometimes the adhab of Allah is baghta, baghtata meaning suddenly, without any signs. Sometimes the adhab of Allah ta'ala will be suddenly, without any sign that comes upon a nation, a people. أو جهرة, or openly, meaning that first some signs will come, then they are not accepting, and more signs, then after that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's adhab ultimately comes. هل يهلك إلا القوم الظالمون. That who will be destroyed except the ظالمون. Meaning the adhab will take the ظالمون, meaning for them it will be a means of destruction. For them it will be a means of destruction. If others die in it as well, and they are not ظالم, then for them it will be shahada. This is again as we said yesterday, this is sunnatullah al-ard. That obviously if it rains, it's going to rain everywhere, right? You know, in one house it's rained, the other house didn't rain on it. If it rains in here, it rains everywhere. If a calamity comes in a place, and if an adhab comes, it comes on everyone, and the entire area, and the entire place. So at times, those that are also khair and salah, they may also be afflicted by that. But that doesn't necessarily mean that for them it's a means of halak. Why? Because staying in this world, not staying in this world, this in itself is no objective, right? Because everyone needs to go. If everyone needs to go, so for this person, he's leaving this world, for him it will be shahada. For them it will be khair. And for the other person, for him it's halak and destruction. Why? Because if you leave this world, what's left for him? Only destruction. Only adhab, only punishment. So staying in this world in itself is not any khair and goodness. هل يهلك إلا القوم الظالمون وما نرسل المرسلين إلا مبشرين ومنذرين. Previously we had discussed that the ayat, the kuffar Makkah, they would ask Rasulullah that on demand give us certain mu'jizat, that you have to bring this sign and that sign. So the Quran Kareem is addressing this, and even after this, that why has Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent Rasul, and in which manner, in which state has He sent them? What do they have? What have they been sent for? So the Quran Kareem says, وَمَا نُرْسِلُ الْمُرْسَلِينَ إِلَّا مُبَشِّرِينَ وَمُنذِرِينَ. The messengers of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they are Bashir and Nadir, Mubashir and Mundir. Mubashir meaning they bring glad tidings, Mundir they bring warnings. Meaning bringing mu'jizat isn't something they themselves have been given any autonomy over. That as the Nabi wants, whenever he wants, he'll bring whatever mu'jizat. No, that's not the case. The job of the Nabi, of the Rasul is Mubashir Mundir. That he gives glad tidings, fadail of Jannah, good, if you do this, then this is what will happen. Explain to the people, speak to them in their language. Mundir, warn them that if you do not accept, then there are other nations before you, and this is what awaits you, this is what will happen. The benefits of accepting Allah Ta'ala's commands and His deen in this world, in the hereafter, and the warnings of not accepting it in this world and in the hereafter. And if Allah Ta'ala decides to manifest a sign and mu'jizah upon the hands of the Nabi, so be it. Then the Anbiya would bring those mu'jizat. فَمَنْ آمَنَ وَأَصْلَحْ فَلَا خَوْفٌ عَلَيْهِمْ وَلَا هُمْ يَحْزَنُونَ. And whoever believes and they reform their ways, then there is no fear nor any sadness for them. They have no grief that will be upon them, nor any fear. Fear is usually for when the person is going to a place and they don't know what to expect. For example, if someone is moving to another place and he has no idea what's going to happen there, it's a new work, for example, so then there may be a certain state of fear. That what can I expect? What is there? What's not there? Is that area safe or not safe? What should I expect from the people over there? So فَلَا خَوْفٌ عَلَيْهِمْ. there should be no fear. That when you're going towards Akhirah and towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and Jannah, then there will be salam for you. There will be welcoming. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will have the doors of Jannah open for that person. لا خوف عليهم ولا هم يحزنون. That whenever a person leaves his family, we see this all the time, that if someone is going on a travel, so there is this grief that you're leaving your loved ones behind, you're leaving your kin behind, you're leaving the area you grew up in, you lived in your whole life, you're leaving this behind. So there's a certain sadness, there's a grief over there, even if it may be voluntary. Many of us have migrated from their homelands, but although it was voluntary, but there is a certain grief, there is a certain sadness that we're leaving that place that we were born in. وَلَا هُمْ يَحْزَنُونَ. There is no need to have any huzn and grief over leaving the dunya. You're going towards وَلَلْآخِرَةُ خَيْرٌ لَكَ مِنَ الْأُولَى. The akhirah is far greater, far better than the dunyawi life. What a person has over here, these are samples. What's the sample in front of the real thing? The ni'am of Jannah are far greater for a person. لا خوف عليهم ولا هم يحزنون. Make dua that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives us understanding of the Quran al-Kareem.